We are connecting, and we should be live in a moment here.
Okay, brother.
Let's see. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. If
Oh, we are actually live.
We're live? Perfect.
Boom, 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 boom,
There we
boom.
go.
Let's maybe just get some people to trickle in.
Yes.
You know,
I
let's just
will,
open the gates for the masses. Millions of people listening. Trickle in. 6 people already. 2 likes already. Man, how are we doing today, man?
It's movement. I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good. Lots of news to discuss. And so, yeah, man, no, there's a bunch to talk about with
100%.
Bitcoin. Big news and big pumpage potentially in the playbook. So, yeah, man, tons to discuss here. Where do you kind of want to start off here?
Look,
Anything on
man,
your
can I
mind?
start off the stream saying something? I would
Please.
like to address a big issue we're having right now.
Let's do it.
And yeah, man, I want to report theft,
Okay.
theft of style, theft of I guess swag.
These are
your
some
chart
serious accusations.
heavy actually, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it because you got some pink on your charts, pink and blue,
Yeah,
and it looks amazing.
it does.
It does look amazing, and I'm kind of jealous.
Right. Are you suggesting that I've like stolen your style?
Just hinting at it.
Because look, here's the
Nothing I
thing, man.
did.
Look. You don't have a monopoly on style. Okay, do you understand?
That's true.
And
That's true.
the fact that you would insinuate that I would steal your style is not only hateful, but it's slanderous. And I'm contemplating.
You're using too many big words right now, man.
I-
And I want to
look.
get offended.
I'm not saying I'm gonna seek legal counsel, but it's not out of the picture.
Wow.
All right.
All right,
So
man.
I'm
Look,
just
man,
putting you on notice. That's all.
All I'm saying is this: I'm flattered.
Look,
I'm flattered.
I can figure out what my options are. That's it. And I don't think you want that. That's all.
Oh man, 100%, guys. Thank you for joining today. Big news, man. Biggest thing. What's his name? Our boy, Mark Cuban.
Mark
Did he get rug
Cuban.
pulled? So you're
Yeah.
telling, hold up. So you're telling Mark Cuban, if Mark Cuban got rug pulled, what are we saying here? I think anything can happen in the crypto space. and
Well,
we'll be like,
also,
okay, that's
Mark
fine.
Cuban doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to
sure?
crypto. Bro, Mark Cuban bought Polygon at like $1.30. I bought Polygon at 2 cents and been talking about it since it was 2 cents. When it comes
Right.
to cryptocurrency investing, I am a far superior cryptocurrency advisor
But
to Mark
do
Cuban.
you own the Mavericks?
I don't
you
own
own
the
the
no.
basketball?
Listen. He knows his shit when it comes to the legacy markets. He's a fantastic, legendary investor when it comes to legacy markets. When it comes
Yeah.
to crypto, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I'm being really harsh. I'm being
Look,
really
man,
harsh.
if we ever end up on the Shark Tank or something, trying to push this YouTube channel somewhere,
Hey, man.
Mark, if you're listening, we're joking here, man. We love you.
But yeah, no, he did get rug pulled, didn't he? He was in what,
He
like
did.
Iron Finance?
I don't even know, but
Yeah.
apparently he did, man. Anyways,
But real quick though, apparently the protocol he was in, staking, becoming a liquidity provider for, had like $2 billion of liquidity locked in the protocol.
how much?
2 billion.
2 bills?
Yeah,
God.
that's according to Cryptos R Us. I may be remembering that wrong, so don't quote me. But it was
Yeah.
it was definitely up there. It was in the billions of value locked
That's
in the
crazy,
ecosystem.
man.
Just
That's crazy.
snap of a finger, just gone.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. And so I think. Do you think that's why Bitcoin is correcting?
Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Probably not. There's a bunch of factors we're going to discuss in this live stream. So, guys, again, thank you for joining. We're going to discuss a couple news. Brandon's going to carry this whole thing on his back. And yeah, man, soon enough here, I'm piecing out. I got like 20, 25 minutes. So I'm just going to say, drop all the jewels and you kill it after. So we'll go ahead. But, man, we can start with the charts. We can start with whatever you want. Price action. Let's get it.
Well, you know what, man? We could talk about price action, but there's a lot of news to discuss, a lot of news that will affect the price action, because I know you have a lot of stuff on your side. Do you want to maybe start off with some of that stuff? It is pretty important.
I might as well just do that then.
All right, let's go ahead. Go to your screen here.
So maybe just a quick recap, right?
Yep.
Whatever we discussed yesterday on our live stream. We talked about the fact that we will see certain buyers try to come in at this level over here. Looks like we did just break it. So obviously buyers, not enough, I guess, buyers for the time being. We still got some time, maybe to retest back above and go. That's as a first stop. So somewhere closer. What do we have? We said like somewhere low 38,000s, the mid 38,000.
Yeah.
Then again, you brought up the point that, all right, so we just had let me just put this back here. We just had a breakout back to this level over here. We just broke above it. We're looking at the 4 hour. We need to have some sort of a retest of that to back to these lower levels. So again, somewhere close to the 37,000 range. This was the first stop. We still didn't fully decisively break below. We did break below, but we want to see if these guys are actually going to hold. The buyers are going to come in, and yeah, man, I think we're going to have another run up here as soon as we start having some sort of retest. We did expect some buyers here, but they didn't actually come in. Then again, I guess maybe it's important to tell the people what the main message we're trying to send in this whole live stream, and whatever reasons we actually got to believe so, man. So overall, I think the biggest news right now, in my opinion, is Facebook. Facebook just entered the chat. 2019, beware. Looking at Facebook. Libra, if you guys remember, 2019, scrutinized, had a couple of investors come in, companies come in, but again, if you guys remember, the past couple of years for Facebook has been very, very, they've been getting scrutinized every couple of months. We have a big hearing talking about privacy, data. They're hoarding everything. They're using it for ads, this and this and this and that, and they're just fully under the microscope, and that kind of got curbed a bit. But not anymore, man. They look pretty determined. Came up with right now a couple news stories that came out. Facebook's where is it? We have it here. Yeah, so Facebook Coin Diem offering pre-sale discount for early investors. So they're back in the picture. They had a couple of their approach towards it now is different. It was initially in Switzerland, with the regulators doing whatever regulators do in Switzerland, but right now, initially actually as well, it was pegged to a basket of different currencies, including the US dollar. Right now, they're fully focusing on the US and the US dollar. And man, there's a lot to unpack here, but this is big.
Oh, dude, this is extremely significant. We have one of the FANG stocks, the what is it? Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, basically one of the largest tech stocks, talking about getting into crypto, like fully hashing out a brand new cryptocurrency. Now, I haven't looked into it much myself, but just the fact that they're getting ready to do this is a very, very big deal, and it speaks to the adoption that we're seeing. We're in the early
100%.
stages. This market is still so early. Regulation isn't even clear. So, do we know many more details about this cryptocurrency? Like you said, it was
Man.
mentioned. It was
Of course.
pegged to stable coins. There is that.
Yeah,
is
so
that-
I'll just
yeah?
so we'll leave this in the description as well. I'll just send it in the chats, or a couple of articles, just kind of going in depth of whatever's going on. But I'll just slightly brush up upon it. And yeah, man. So overall, this is what we had. This article from a month ago talking about what happened in 2019 as well. But just to give you guys a quick update, the company stated earlier this year that it would be relocating its primary operations from Switzerland back to the United States, and would withdraw its payment system license application from Switzerland. Diem is simplifying its plans for its USD stablecoin issuance by shifting its main operation from Switzerland back to the United States, as opposed to being pegged that basket of currencies. These guys are trying to just literally have a stable coin pegged to just the whole, USD, the Chinese yen, the euro. Now it's more like the US gave them a bunch of scrutiny, and now they're saying, nope, all right, we'll just, we want, and so bad, we're willing to change this whole thing. So, in a strategic partnership, the two firms have created a new subsidiary called Diem Networks US, which will run the Diem payment network DPN to facilitate transactions of the stablecoin within its network. So they partnered with this crypto bank, Silvergate, and again, Diem Networks. And then this is not running a public network. This is running, but just like how You won't really have validators or anything like that. They're running that own network there, and overall, some municipalities and states such as Miami and Wisconsin have embraced the recent innovation, whereas regulators such as newly appointed SEC Chair Gary Gensler have critiqued the autonomy of the crypto industry. So again, man. Stable coins. I guess that's what they're focused on right now. Obviously, so again, I think it comes back. I don't know if you agree or not, man, but I think it comes back to the government. These guys are big. They know what kind of scrutiny they got 2019. They're willing to kind of a bit bow down, change their approach towards it. But in terms of it being a stable coin, I think, in my opinion, they will have a huge effect on the market. I don't think just the fact that it's not, you're not buying it to actually have some sort of gains on it, right? They want the technology, but they do not want it to have an effect on the dollar, and that's what they're trying to fully kind of approach, as in like we're friendly to the dollar. We want to help out, and obviously with the U.S. government, the way they've been approaching with the central bank digital currencies and all that, I don't know how that's going to play out. But overall, man, big guys are in the market. Big Facebook, part of the big fives. And knowing all the privacy issues, knowing how data gets hoarded, knowing how I don't know how this is going to play out, man, but it definitely will have some sort of effect on the market. These guys got a huge consumer base, 2 point some billion people use Facebook, and they definitely, if they get some sort of approval, it's good to go. I don't know what's gonna happen because your average consumer, your average Facebook consumer doesn't really care about you. Maybe about cryptocurrency, we do, but I don't know how that's gonna affect, to be honest. But this thing is developing, so we just
Yeah.
need to keep it in mind.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Like the average consumer, they don't really give a fuck about cryptocurrency. But look, at the end of the day, adoption is going in one direction, greater and
Yeah.
greater adoption. And let's assume this gets implemented. How would this actually be used, and what greater effects would that have on the market? Like, man, could you imagine Facebook having a native cryptocurrency being used in their own internal marketplace, used for paying for ads, used for purchasing items, with companies buying ads through their platform, used for likes. And what if they incorporate some interoperability into different
Mhm.
ecosystems? That is the key factor, because what I see is like these different tech giants creating their own like independent like economic bubbles, right? Like Apple Pay, now Facebook's coming out
Mhm.
with their own stable coin. Man, if as soon as they kind of introduce any kind of interoperability, that is when the true money will start to flood into the space, because whatever makes it easier for retail to move into crypto will eventually over time increase the value of assets in this market.
100%, man. I think, look, just the fact that the US has been, the Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Amazon have been under the microscope for the past a couple of years, talking about data, talking about privacy. Overall, the fact that Facebook is trying to come back just shows you how bad they want in.
Yeah.
Completely changing the white paper, completely changing the approach, completely changing the way they're going about it. And they're like, look, we're not pegging this to a bunch of currencies. We want to focus on the US. And look, and even if you read the white paper here, same thing what it's saying. It will run on a Facebook app called Novi. That's not it. The network, the project highly scalable system. Where did it go? Anyway, so oh yeah, the white paper mentions Facebook only once, and the capacity of being a founder of association cancel. They went great lengths to deassociate itself from Facebook because they have such bad PR and with privacy and everything. But again, obviously the whole crypto space has some sort of negative outlook on this because we know how these big companies, corporations, and giants actually operate. But yeah, the fact that I think in the stable coin ecosystem or sector of crypto, yes, it most likely will be, again, another monopoly. But again, there's going to be a bunch of other systems. They're not. Are they focusing on DeFi? Are they focusing on a bunch of other stuff? But this specifically, this could be that first gate into actual mainstream adoption. 2 point some billion users. Everybody has an app. Everybody this, and again, they own WhatsApp, they own Instagram. So the whole consumer base is under these guys' wings right now. And best believe if this thing works, this is going to be major. I still can't understand what can happen. What protocols would they use? Besides that, how will Ethereum play a system a role in this? Knowing the fact that crypto space is still, in terms of how we know crypto, our audience knows crypto, but overall, does your average Facebook user know what crypto is? Do they care?
No.
Right? I don't know. So that's let's see how this plays out, man.
Yeah.
But definitely, I feel like not feel like, but this thing is. I think this is gonna be the biggest thing for the crypto space.
Man, and you know what? Like things that get people in crypto without letting you know you're in crypto are really some of the biggest plays out there. Like I think of like NBA Top Shots. People have no idea. A lot of people. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do, but many people don't understand that that's like fully NFTs. That's crypto. Audius, Auto, is a music app. I'm sure a lot of the users don't understand that that's a crypto project. And so with this too, with Facebook, they're gonna think it's Facebook bucks. Who cares? But it's these kinds of projects that get people to use crypto without knowing they're using crypto are the kind of things that's gonna take to really get mass adoption into this space. And it's just a matter of time, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. 100%. I see someone who's saying, guys, please improve your sound quality. Your mic has some serious problems on your sound card. Oh, I guess. God damn, man. Anyways,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's very unfortunate. We do sometimes have sound issues. We'll double check after live stream, see what's going on.
if you're a producer and you want to help us out, hit us up.
Yo, so Buffalo on the beat. Welcome back. He's saying I have 80 tracks on Audius. I love it. Audio is good. Yeah, yeah. Appreciate that. Buffalo on the beat saying audio is good. Okay, perfect. Yo, what's your name on Audius, man? I'll check you out. Are you Buffalo on the beat on Audius as well? I'll check your shit out.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll look your shit up. That's cool. Yeah, man. I use Audius myself, so yeah, man. No. This is some big stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
what are you thinking here?
No, I'm saying that maybe we can just talk about the price action right now.
Let's take a look.
If you're good to go, maybe from your end.
Yeah. No, let's take a look for sure. Do you want me to go on mine or you
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, perfect.
I talked for a minute, man.
Okay, no. Okay, guys. So look, what I think what's going on with Bitcoin is actually extremely simple. We broke the bearish price structure. We put in a higher low and we put in a higher high, which is the first time we've done this since the original sell-off beginning in April. So we have seen a clear shift in the trend. The RSI went from very much overbought to oversold, now putting in higher highs and higher lows. The MACD, the daily and the 12-hour MACD, the most oversold it's ever been, having a bullish crossover. It makes sense that we might see a bit of a relief rally, maybe even a further relief rally in the short term. Although, again, guys, we're finding rejection off this level consistently, this blue line, that being the 200 daily exponential moving average. And so, again, in my opinion, I think it's quite clear. We had a breakout. We found a rejection off resistance. We're coming back down to retest the breakout point. And so I think this could be, not a guarantee, but this could be a bullish retest before our second impulse up. And our second impulse up, I think we have a better chance of breaking through, because the more times we test resistance, the more likely we're to break through. As well, if we take a look at the Bitcoin CME futures chart, for those who don't know, there's futures trading of Bitcoin that only trades during the weekdays. So it's for fancy people doing fancy trading. All right. And so during the weekends, they're closed. And so when Bitcoin makes big moves during a weekend, what happens is that there forms a CME gap, and oftentimes price returns to fill these gaps. Not always, but most of the time they've done this, and this actually makes so much sense to me. We had a bullish breakout where we got rejected off resistance. We're coming back down to retest the breakout point and fill the gap. This makes all the sense in the world to me. So for me, if we kind of take a look at where the gap was, it was this white box. This white box is fully now filled. The CME gap is filled. And so in my opinion, if we could hold the original breakout point, and if we can hold above this VPVR point of control, basically 36,600, 700, as long as we hold above that, then in the coming days, we're probably going to retest this 200 daily EMA. And if we can flip 41K from resistance into support, then the relief rally can definitely continue.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
I agree. And look, you can see it just to follow up on what you're like. You can see it as soon as we have some sort of what. Maybe you can just take a look at the historical data here from back in January. Again, we're stuck in some sort of descending triangle. We break out of it, come back down to retest it, and then go back up. So nothing out of the ordinary, nothing, it's not a radical idea to believe that. And that's what, overall, same thing. Again, just lower time frames just to show you break above, come back down to retest, and now we move back upwards. So we need to confirm, especially when we're at such a critical level. As soon as we start breaking out of main supports and resistances, we always come back to retest again here when we're looking at April 25th.
Great
as soon as
example.
exactly, we just start to have that drop and overall break. So now it's solidified the fact that this is support now, and again, this is the resistance. We're getting to supply and demand, getting squeezed, break below, come back up to retest and go down. So this is what we're trying to see here. Is that going to be the same thing? Are we going to have the same thing happen? And yeah, man, I think that's what we should all be paying attention to, guys. Obviously, this thing right here, again, it's all short term. Everything is short term. We go every day to try to see whatever happened in the past 24 hours and see any more signs of what's going on. Broke out, came back down. We're looking for some sort of retest. Majority of traders, majority of buyers do not just enter here. Because why? They don't want this to happen. Everybody waits for confirmation. Let's just forget about this line over here. They don't want something like this to happen, right? You enter as soon as it breaks out, you're in it. Oh, never mind. It's actually a fake out. And it turned out to be it's a bull trap. So overall, this is what we're having right now. Everybody waits on this. Everybody waits new. Everyone knows that we have a lot of resistance somewhere closer to 41. You just showed all the MAs connected to that. And yeah, man, I think if anything, buyers would want to step in here. We have more or a higher chance of buyers entering somewhere closer to this region. We can't fully pinpoint it, but we don't want to break below this support line and continue to go downwards. So this is the area we're looking at. It could bounce off for a bit here, but overall, we want buyers to start stepping in here, if not today, sometime by tomorrow or the day after, because I think we definitely have a higher chance of these guys actually jumping in and pouring all these billions, man.
Yes, yes. And guys, look, I want to share with you guys the 3 factors I'm looking out for to understand whether or not we could have more of a relief rally. Number 1, we need to keep putting in higher lows. If we start putting in lower lows, if we break below 34,600, 34,400, 31,200, each lower low that we put in is bearish confirmation and makes it likelier that downtrend will continue. So the key factor we need to look out for is higher lows, because there's so much layers of resistance above us. Rejection at any point should be anticipated. The key factor that will allow bullish continuation is higher lows. That's number 1. Number 2, this VPVR point of control. We have a lot of volume below us that should act as, at the very least, temporary support, clustering mainly around 37,000, just under. So from about 36,600 to about 37,300, a bit of a maybe $1,000 range from kind of 36,000 to about 37,000. Around that range is where that volume sits. So we need to hold above that. If we start to break below that, that's very, very bad news. Very, very concerning. That's number 2. Number 3, and what may be one of the most important factors for timing, not only when Bitcoin is done correcting, but when it's ready to explode. And I think one of the most important factors is, again, something I've mentioned, but I'm going to keep doing it because it's so significant. And once it happens, you're going to hear everybody talking about it. I've been saying this for weeks. I'm going to tell you before it happens, and we're going to see the results of how impactful this is after it happens. And I'm telling you now this before it happens. The daily goddamn RSI.
God damn it.
We've held this as resistance all throughout this cycle. All throughout this cycle, this uptrend, we have respected this trend line as resistance. We're starting to see signs of bullish divergence. We're putting in higher highs, higher lows. We're breaking below some trend lines, but we still have the ultimate test above us, this red trend line here. And so, folks, for me, it's very simple. If we take a look at the resistance level, we've had all throughout the majority of the cycle's parabolic growth and throughout our downtrend, what would it take for us to shift massive price structure? I think it would be bullish divergence from one of the most significant resistance levels this cycle, and that's this red trend line. So once we see something like this, a breakout, come back down to retest, hold it, then at that point, Bitcoin's ready to take off, flip 41K, flip 42K, and at the very least, come up to retest this red trend line based off all-time highs and next lower high at around the high $40,000 range.
I agree.
Yeah, those are the
I
three things I'm
definitely
looking
agree,
out
man.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what maybe, you know, a majority of investors, or obviously investors look at the monthly 3 months performance, but again, just to time the market when you have something as volatile as the crypto space, you need to see what happens on lower time frames overall. You know, they might have to start looking at the weeklies, the dailies, to actually see what happens. So overall, yeah, man, no, I agree with you. I think this is the main thing we need to be looking at. We need to break some of those major trends we've been seeing, specifically on the daily. Specifically, the RSI is going to paint a very nice picture. But then again, overall, we've been in the oversold. You know, when I start seeing this channel form and that resistance you're talking about, we would, if we're all the way at the top here, again, we're still overbought, and now we just started, dabbling below the 30 level, below the below the neutral level. We're actually in the oversold region where, look, price action, we're not correlating. We need to kind of go back up to neutralize this, and I think we have a very good chance here. So we could have some sort of a continued movement downwards, but as time goes by here, specifically with Bitcoin's price action, specifically with us breaking, faking out that drop to the bottom and actually continuing to go back above. Overall, that with the more time passes, the more and more, it's kind of we have a higher chance of actually pushing towards those higher levels. So let's see if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and also like, let me know what you think. I think you'll agree, but just for the people, I think there is some danger here in the short term. Like we may find support here, but we may not. We're seeing weakness. Daily MACD histogram moving down, weighted MACD bearish crossover, RSI having a bit of a leg down. Stochastic RSI, great for understanding shifts and trends, has just had a bearish crossover on the daily. I mean, even if you go to lower time frames, the 4 hour. MACD moving down, weighted MACD bearish crossover, stochastic RSI bearish crossover. So from high time frame to low time frame, we're seeing weakness on our indicators. So we could very well break down much further here, folks. Again, clear support here at this VPVR. We could maybe fall a little bit lower. Once we start putting in lower lows, that's when I start to get worried. So again, there is a bit of danger, and we could experience more of a sell-off past the original breakout point. That's very possible.
Yeah.
But as long as you put in these higher lows, then a retest of resistance at one point is very reasonable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think just because overall, man, we always say the same thing as well. So maybe just not to forget it, the fact that these indicators, specifically when we're at some sort of an apex, specifically when we're having some sort of a major breakout where the market is in the limbo. There's a lot of confusion in the market. There's a lot of news out there. Overall, specifically with the MACD and the RSI at the breakout point, we always, so something again to keep in mind, it's a very valid point where you're saying you guys need to keep it in mind, is the readings from the RSI and the MACDs will definitely get, and I don't want to say jammed, but we don't want to say that we wouldn't fully trust the level, and I would place more importance on the actual price level, where we're sitting at, where the support zone or the resistance zone is in terms of trend lines on the chart. So there's also that we got to keep in mind, is that once supply and demand gets so squeezed, the movement of those indicators becomes very, very jittery, or whatever the word. I can't even find the word. So we got to keep that in mind as well, and whatever's happening outside of the chart. So we're not saying, oh, it might go up and it might go down. It's not what we're saying. We're saying that we have more and more chances right now, specifically with these higher price levels being broken, resistances being broken, on the daily RSI being in the bottom. We have a more and more chance of buyers starting to creep in more and more as time goes by. So yeah, man, I agree. See some people here commenting, I don't know what you think, but you don't think whales will sell for profits around 50K? It's like, I just find it really hard to believe that whales is going to ride it up to 100K without taking massive profits and bring the price down. Am I being overly pessimistic? Want to reply to Buffalo Beat?
I don't think you're being overly pessimistic at all. This market is designed to shake out weak hands, as this last month has shown us. It will not be a straight line up. Even if the bull market is still going 6 months from now, this was just a massive shakeout. It's going to be a terrifying ride up to 100K if Bitcoin gets up there, because there's so many layers of resistance above us. There's going to be more and more rejections, and each one is going to look like a dead cat bounce, like a bull trap. And so I think you're right to be concerned. I think there will be selling off. One of the reasons why I think there will be is because I plan on selling off, because ultimately, again, I think the ultimate indicator for the state of this bull market or bear market is a retest of this red trend line from all-time highs to the next lower high, and seeing what way we react off this. And so leading up to these major resistance levels, whales, smart money will be taking profits to buy back in on a bullish retest, or if we get a dead cat bounce and rejection and fall even lower, to be able to have some dry powder to buy the dip. So I do think it's going to be a pretty scary ride back up to 100K if we do indeed enter a bull market. What do you think, man?
What are you gonna do with Bitcoin? Oh, because we still have this whole thing with you shaving your head, right? If we don't get 10K
I
Ethereum,
was
was
hoping
that it?
people would just forget about that. Thank you for
Oh
bringing that
no, we
up.
have everything documented. I can pull all the receipts, all the screenshots. You agreed. We have all the audio. This guy's about to shave his head if Ethereum doesn't go to 10K, guys. So
That's, you know what? I did say that. I did say that if Ethereum this year does not go to at least 10,000 US dollars, I will shave my head, and I stand by my statement.
bro, I will gladly shave your head. Gladly.
Man, hey, look, the year's not over. We got many, many more months up ahead. And so, look, if there's a flash crash or some war, some meteor hits the earth, and this all goes to shit, I guess I'm shaving my head and saving money on shampoo. But unless something like that happens, I think I got a fighting chance to be correct.
Oh man, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So yeah, man, what do we have here? We have Jared saying, "What up, boys? Jared, what up? How's it going, man? Or woman, depending."
Don't assume gender.
I'm not assuming.
Good.
Or wait, a person. My bad.
Better not assume gender.
Yeah. And the alts, the only good one is Super Doge. That's what Wendy Phillips is saying.
Who's Wendy Phillips?
Yeah, Techno Guy is also telling you, man, show off your hairly head, Brendan.
Who's saying this?
Techno Guy.
One of these days, I mean, don't we have plans to do a face reveal on the channel soon, pretty soon?
Oh yeah, next couple of days, man.
Yeah. Well, guys, one of these days, we're soon going to be showing our faces and give you guys a face to hate, not just a voice. And so, looking forward to that, man.
100%.
Yeah. And so you guys will see the ad that will be shaved. There's an awful rumor, a propagandist, scandalous rumor that I already have the shaved head. And I just
Right.
need to come out right now and address this
Yeah, I
issue.
wonder who started that, man.
Yeah, it's propagandist. There's a coordinated campaign of FUD against me. This is scandalous. This is fake news. I am in talks with lawyers to exploring my options for I'm not going to sue anyone for libel, but for character assassination. But I'm exploring my
Right.
options, and I definitely do not have a shaved head.
All right, man. Damn, the fact that you're being so defensive about it
I'm
is
not
gonna make us
defensive.
all
I'm not
ask
defensive.
questions here, guys.
What makes you think I'm
Anyways.
defensive?
Because you have lawyers involved. Goddamn. Hey, man, I know you got a bunch of indicators and a bunch of on-chain metrics. You really went to the deep ends of crypto. Just get some good information here. So what do you got, man?
Yeah,
'Cause
guys. Okay.
By the way, guys, sorry for I might just need to head out within the next 5 minutes, man. So I
Yeah?
might just peace out
Okay.
halfway through.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe in the meanwhile, do you have any final words you want to discuss before we dive into that, or should we just?
No, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Brendan's got this whole thing on his back right now, just leading the ship. And yeah, make sure you don't listen to him. Make sure you give him a very hard time, and make sure you just let him know in the comments, guys. So
Highly
appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. I'll hit you up, man.
All right, man. All right. Perfect. Okay. All
All
right.
right, man. Peace.
All right. Take her easy. So yeah. Okay. So Messin, I suppose he's got to take off here. No worries. I will keep going here. We still have plenty more to discuss. So I did want to discuss a narrative.
Still gonna be watching though. Peace.
Please go ahead and take care, man. A theory I'm building with Bitcoin here, which is, again, Bitcoin is still super precarious. Bitcoin is still super, weak. We're not out of the forest yet. But I do want to take a second to kind of talk about the bullish case for Bitcoin and what that could look like. Because if it's not a guarantee, but if we do indeed put in a higher low here, if we can hold 37,000, if we can hold 36,700, if we can hold this volume, if we can hold support, if we can flip resistance into support, then I think the next relief rally, the next pump is likely to break through the 200 daily exponential moving average. And if it does, that is a significant deal. The market has shown us several times how important, how reactive this level is. Here was constantly acting as support several times. We broke below it, came back up to retest it, and got rejected exactly off it, and it's exactly where we're finding rejection in the short term. So the key inflection point that will act as bullish confirmation in the short term is a bullish trend reversal above this level. That's it. As long as Bitcoin is below this line, it's ultimately very precarious. Bitcoin needs to eventually, this week, next week, in the near future, has to get above this level for us to really start feeling a bit more optimistic about Bitcoin's future. And so if we can flip $41,000 from resistance into support, get 1 or 2 daily candles fully closing above this, then we could retest the 200 daily simple moving average, this yellow line, and we could test the 50 simple daily moving average. This 50 daily simple, I believe, is the next major inflection point after the 200 daily exponential moving average, because we can see here that during this cycle's parabolic growth, twice the 50 daily simple moving average was the bedrock, the level of support for Bitcoin. Here, pump, dump, our first massive dump of the cycle. Where did we stop dumping? Where did we find our support? The 50 daily SMA. Same here as well. Even if we look at the previous level, previous cycle. The previous cycle, 2018, it was extremely relevant, this moving average. We can see here, we're looking at a chart of 2017 Bitcoin. If we take a look, massive pump, massive dump, where did we find our support? 50 daily SMA. Massive pump, massive dump, 50 daily SMA several times. And what happened here? We broke back down, came back up to retest it, got rejected, and entered a bear market. So this cycle and the previous cycle, extremely significant moving average. So in the short term, what is important? The 200 daily exponential, and then the 50 daily simple, and then after that we have this resistance red trend line based off all-time highs, the next lower high. Those are the 3 major levels of resistance that we need to hold above. Each layer of resistance we get above and hold above, not just wick above, but get daily candles closing above, makes it more likely that the uptrend will continue. And just so we're clear, guys, my approach moving forward in this market is that every macro lower low that we make, I will move into stable coins more and more so, because lower lows is confirmation of the bear trend and makes it more likely that we could continue to fall. So basically, if we fall below 32,600, if we make a lower low below 31,000, each macro lower low that we make, I will move into stable coins. And if we have a relief rally, I will move into stable coins. If we can flip that 200 daily exponential moving average, and we start to pump up to maybe the mid 40s and then the high 40s. In the high 40s, I will take some profits to buy back into the market if we do this. Because if we break out of this line, come back down and retest it, hold it as support, this is the final bit of bullish confirmation that we need. Because if we could break above this, fall back down, retest it, hold it as support, then Bitcoin has a very solid chance of going to 100K and beyond this year. So what we need is further confirmation. And just to give you guys, maybe not hopium, but some ideas as to why my personal inkling is leaning more towards the bull market continuing. Let's start taking a look at some of these other major charts here. And guys, if you like this live stream, want me to keep going, smash that like button, because the more likes that we get, the more likely is YouTube is to share the live stream and share it with new people. And we're just getting started, guys. I'm going to break down Bitcoin even further, mention some very important charts, take a look at the major cryptocurrencies, high cap, altcoins, Ethereum, Cardano, VECHAIN. I'm also want to share with you guys a few altcoin gems that I'm looking to buy. I've probably already bought into most of these already, especially once we start getting a bit more bullish confirmation. So I will be taking some profits in some of my positions. I will be buying the dip on some stuff. Ultimately, I'm looking to ape in hard once we can get above this trend line and buy back in on a bullish retest. So folks, a few things I want to go over real quick is Bitcoin dominance. How do we know when it's time to buy into altcoins? Well, one of the things we can look out for is Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance is an extremely good gauge of the state of the altcoin market. How do we know when to buy the dip? Well, you could buy the dip really whenever, when things are crashing, but this is a very good gauge of the state of the altcoin market. But this is Bitcoin dominance. Why am I saying this is a good gauge of the altcoin market? That's because whenever Bitcoin dominance rises, it's telling us that Bitcoin is gaining money in the market in comparison to the rest of the market, which affects liquidity, it affects the Bitcoin pairings, and affects market sentiment. So when Bitcoin rises, altcoins typically suffer. Whenever it falls, altcoins typically benefit. So if Bitcoin has a relief rally and pumps, Bitcoin dominance is probably going to rise. If Bitcoin dominance dumps below 30K, the market's going to get spooked and altcoins are going to sell off harder than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance is going to rise. So whatever way you slice it in the near term, I think in my opinion, it makes sense that Bitcoin dominance will rise. So when do we know when to buy into altcoins? I think we buy into altcoins once Bitcoin dominance hits resistance, but more importantly, starts to show signs of reversal of the uptrend. So I think Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, is likely to come back up to retest the 50 percentile range. Previously, very reactive dominant range here at around 50%. We have a Fibonacci retracement level there. And so I do think it makes some degree sense for Bitcoin dominance to rise, probably around this region. And once we see a reversal after a pump in Bitcoin dominance, once we see Bitcoin dominance start to fall, put it in a lower high and a lower low after a retest of resistance, that is when we start to move into altcoins. And that's when you can more confidently move in altcoins. Because again, when Bitcoin dominance rises, altcoins typically suffer. When Bitcoin dominance falls, alts typically benefit. So I see someone here saying, damn, I've been buying alts right now, lol. So have I. But look, I have a high risk tolerance. I want to provide you guys a rationale for more confidently buying into alts based off evidence and confirmation. Because look, I like to ape into things. I have a very risk confident. I have a high risk tolerance. But if you guys want to be a little bit more confident and have some tangible reasons to be more confidently buying into altcoins, look for macro trend reversals. And so once we see a shift in Bitcoin dominance from an uptrend to a downtrend, so we hit resistance, we put in a lower high and a lower low, that's when it's time to move in altcoins. Because in my opinion, guys, when do we know when to sell out of this market? One of the factors that I'm going to be looking out for is a lower low in Bitcoin dominance from these levels. Why is that a level to look to sell out of the market? I am looking to take some profits on some of my altcoins once we put in a lower low below here, which we still haven't done, which one reason why I think this borrow and sell is more room to the upside, because there are many more altcoins in the previous cycles, and the use case for altcoins is far greater than the previous cycles. So in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense that Bitcoin dominance will fall lower than the previous cycle, because again, Bitcoin dominance, total value of Bitcoin in comparison to total value of all other alts. And if there's more alts and the alts have more use case, there's likely to be more value in the alts. So I suspect that this cycle, by the end of it, we will have put in a lower low below this level in Bitcoin dominance. So when you know when to buy in alts, when you know to sell out of alts, I personally, my plan, not financial advice, is to buy in more heavily and more confidently at resistance, and we see signs of trend reversal, lower highs, lower lows. That's when I buy in. And when do you know when to sell off? In my opinion, not financial advice, but again, just some of the macro factors I'm considering, is a lower low in Bitcoin dominance. Because again, Bitcoin dominance, total value of alts compared to the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to total value of all other cryptocurrencies. There's more other cryptocurrencies with more use case, therefore more likely to have more value in the altcoins in the previous cycle, therefore more likely to put in a lower low. And so once we put in that lower low, that is when I'm looking to take profits. But even once we get close to this region, probably a good idea to take some profits on some alts. At least that's what I'm doing, not financial advice. So guys, there's some of the stuff. Again, smash that like button. There's 115 people watching, only 73 likes. Smash the like button. We really appreciate it. Now, there's a few other things that it's very interesting right now, which is the total cryptocurrency market cap. So currently the market's valued at $1.54 trillion, and we're essentially forming this wedge formation. And so this does serve as kind of macro confirmation of the macro market, the direction of the macro market. And so really what we're doing right now, and this is extremely telling about the state of the market, is we're just moving sideways within a clearly defined narrow range that's narrowing and narrowing and narrowing. What is this telling us? It's telling us that the market is not sure of macro direction. We're seeing that. We're seeing we're within this range that's getting more narrow and narrow and narrow. But we can't just go sideways in this range forever. Eventually, we're going to break out. And whatever way we break out of this range will serve as macro confirmation of the next trend. Is the next macro trend bullish? Is the next macro trend bearish? Whatever way we break out of this thing is likely to be one indicator that tells us what's more or less likely. And so if we take a look here, maybe if we go to the daily, and if we measure how much time we have left within this wedge before we break out, let's take a look. We have 1 week before we break out of the micro wedge. And if we take a look at more of the bigger wedge, we have 21 days. So within the next 1 or 2 weeks here, 3 weeks max, we will have macro trend confirmation. If we break out bullishly, if we do something like this, we break out, come back down to retest, then we could go further. If we break down, come back up to retest, we can fall further. So whatever way we break out, whatever the total cryptocurrency market cap breaks out, that will serve as confirmation of what the next major trend is. So again, guys, we will keep you updated whenever there's a major shift in the trend. As well, this is the total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. So this is just total market cap of the altcoins. And we're essentially forming a very, very similar pattern. We could draw a wedge, we can draw trend lines, we can draw a channel. It ultimately means the same thing. Whatever way you draw this wedge or channel, we're in a tight range. And we keep getting squeezed tighter and tighter into this range. And so eventually in the near future, we will break out. Again, whenever we have a significant shift in this trend, either a lower low or higher high, we will be letting you guys know. As well, I wanted to bring you guys one chart that helps bring home the point that I think it's weird that this bull market may be ending, in my opinion, seemingly prematurely. And so I just so happened to stumble upon one chart that helps bring home the point that I do think this bull market has more upside potential. And guys, I just stumbled on this chart today. This chart is not the end all be all, but I do think this chart is valuable because it helps bring home a point which I'm seeing a lot in different charts, which is not only this chart, but many, many other cycle charts are showing that we have plenty more upside potential. Because if we look at this chart, which essentially it extrapolates moving averages here, we can see that whenever we're on the top side, we're typically overbought. On the low side, we're typically oversold here. And no one chart is the end all be all. And this model may be wrong, but I think this model helps to illustrate a point that I'm seeing a lot in the market, which is many cycle top and bottom indicators are giving this market more room to the upside. Crypto and Bitcoin's use case has never been better, and we're seemingly ending a bull run prematurely when we're at the point of the greatest use case, highest demand and least supply. It doesn't make a lot of sense that at the point of greatest use case, highest demand and least supply, we end a bull run early. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense. It may very well happen, but we have some reasons to think that we have more upside potential. And so that's all I'm trying to get across with this chart here. As well, one very popular model for doing price predictions on Bitcoin is the stock to flow model. And I'm still trying to better understand the stock to flow model myself, but so far my best understanding of the stock to flow model is that the stock to flow model is essentially a ratio between the existing supply and the new supply incoming, and how the market cap of that asset has correlated with the existing supply and incoming supply historically. And so stock to flow created this model, which again is a ratio between the existing supply and the incoming supply, and based off market cap extrapolates future price prediction models. And there's different versions of the stock to flow model. There's the original stock to flow model, which just considers Bitcoin data, and then there's the stock to flow model F, or is it X here, that incorporates gold and silver information as well. So there's slightly different models with the stock to flow model, but either way, whether this model is correct or not, or the extent to which this model is correct, I think what's valuable with these stock to flow models is that they get across the point that there's a correlation between supply It's scarcity and price. If there's ever growing demand for an asset and ever growing scarcity of that asset, then there's a correlation with price. And whether this model it is exactly right or not, if it's accurate, inaccurate, it gets across the point that the scarcer an asset is, as demand grows, price will increase. And so again, there's several different versions of the stock to flow model, but these versions do suggest a Bitcoin over 100,000, over 200,000 this cycle. And again, sometimes we overperform, sometimes we underperform this model. And this model may not end up being correct over the long term. There's arguments, there's some criticisms of the stock to flow model. No one model is the end all be all. But again, I think this gets across the point that there is an obvious connection, correlation between increase in demand and increasing scarcity of an asset that leads to price growth over time. And so guys, I bring this up to say again, we gotta have a long-term mindset when it comes to crypto, because the short term is highly volatile. Why would you be in an asset class that you could lose a shit ton of money in the short term and it's highly volatile? It wouldn't make any sense. You should go be in stocks. Stocks are a lot less volatile. You're likely to lose a lot less money. But we're all in this space for a reason. You 124 people watching right now are in this space because we understand the return on investment potential over the long term. The key factor is the long term, folks, because historically speaking, the long term has brought the greatest return on investment and the least risk. The short term brings the least return on investment and the most risk. It doesn't make any sense to have a short term outlook when you're investing in cryptocurrency. If you're concerned with the short term, go trade something more stable, because this is extremely volatile and we could dump 50% tomorrow. We gotta have a long term outlook when it comes to cryptocurrency, guys. And according to Plan B himself, which is one of the most, I believe Plan B was the person, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, who invented the stock to flow model originally. I'm 99% sure I'm correct, but just in case I'm wrong, I don't want to be for sure. But basically, Plan B put out this tweet recently. This is extremely telling, which Plan B has drawn kind of a support range of the stock to flow model. And this is telling us the last times we deviated from the stock to flow model, we underperformed the stock to flow model. The last times we did this recently was the bottom of the bear market in the March 2020 pandemic crash. And I don't think it makes sense to be as spooked right now as the bottom of a goddamn bear market and a global pandemic hitting the world. It just doesn't make sense, guys. The use case is ever growing. When you look at news, when you look at adoption, what direction is it going? Are more and more countries adopting Bitcoin, or less and less every day? Are more and more companies buying into Bitcoin and crypto, or less and less every day? The adoption is in one direction. So who gives a fuck if the price falls right now? We're not in this space to make a quick 5%. We would be trading stocks if we gave a shit about 5%. We're in this space because we know in crypto you can make X's, 10X's, 5X's, 20X's, but you gotta have a long-term outlook. You gotta have patience. Investing is a game of moving money from the impatient to the patient. We gotta understand the shit moves in cycles. The longer you're willing to hold quality, the less your risk and the greater your return on potential. So I see a great question here, which is what colors mean on stock to flow model. This is a great question because there's different stock to flow models, but on the stock to flow model X, which again incorporates data from outside Bitcoin, I believe Bitcoin and silver data. I'm still trying to better understand it myself, but that is my current understanding. I'm beginning to look into it more and more. So incorporates data from outside of Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin. But what these colors essentially mean with the stock to flow model X is red means very much overbought and blue means very much oversold. So whether this model is exactly correct or not, we do see that every time we entered this red resistance zone, it did historically correlate with tops and resistance and with being overbought. So what happened in the past is not a guarantee of what could happen in the future. And this model might not be exactly correct, but we do see how historically this has been relevant. It has called, tops and bottoms oversold and overbought periods. And what are we seeing right now? We never entered the red resistance overbought territory. And so again, if we examine the state of this market, greatest use case, greatest demand and least supply, we're gonna end a bull market prematurely. It doesn't make sense. It reeks of market manipulation. It reeks of shaking out of the weak hands. It reeks of retail FOMOing in too quick, and we had a market crash, and we need to correct to have a more sustainable correction. So again, guys, no one factor is the end-all be-all. Models can be wrong, but I do think there are some important takeaways that this model has historically been relevant. We never entered that overbought territory, and so we potentially have more room to the upside. And whether you like this model or prefer another, there's plenty of cycle top and bottoms indicators, but almost all of them are giving us more room to the upside. And so, guys, again, keep this on your radar. Be rational. Look out for further confirmation. Don't FOMO. Make decisions based off rational thinking and not emotions. Also, another bit of kind of macro market confirmation that I keep mentioning, and I've mentioned before, I'm going to keep mentioning because it's extremely important, is Bitcoin held on exchanges, because this is essentially confirmation of the trend. How do we know if we're bullish? How do we know if we're bearish? You need to find a confluence of reasons, and the more reasons you have pointing in the same direction, the more confident you could be of the trend. And so this cycle, all throughout this cycle's parabolic growth, Bitcoin has been steadily leaving exchanges. Less Bitcoin on exchanges, less potential selling pressure, the more scarce an asset, increasing demand means price goes up. But since the peak, since the all-time high at 65,000, Bitcoin has been entering exchanges. Ever since the correction has begun, the market's getting scared, people want to be ready to sell, and so Bitcoin's been entering exchanges again. But as of recently, we've started to see what? Lower lows and lower highs. We're seeing a trend reversal. We're seeing Bitcoin starting to leave exchanges again. So if we want to be more confident of the relief rally, of the bullish divergence, we need to see continuation of this trend. We need more and more confirmation of Bitcoin leaving exchanges, because the more lower lows we make, the more lower highs we put in, the more confident we could be that the bullish trend will continue. So again, guys, this is macro confirmation of the trend. Anytime anything interesting happens with this thing, we will definitely be letting you guys know on this channel. Do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notifications as well. The Bitcoin hash rate, very similar indicator in the sense that it serves as macro confirmation. Historically speaking, especially recently, highly correlated with price action. Very simple. Hash rate drops, price drops. Hash rate recovers, price recovers. Hash rate drops, price drops. Can anybody notice a trend here? So if we want to be more confident of continued sustained recovery, we need to see hash rate continue to pick up. And so we are seeing a lot of concerning stuff coming out of China. We're seeing China really crack down on Bitcoin mining, crack down on a lot of services. And so I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of miners selling off. We're seeing a lot of miner migration, hash rate migration. And so this China FUD and this energy FUD we're hearing behind Bitcoin is a temporary issue, in my opinion, because what is the long-term result of all this China FUD and all this energy FUD behind Bitcoin? The long-term result is that Bitcoin will become more decentralized, out of Chinese control, because China's clamping down on Bitcoin mining. Great, so the hash rate is just going to become more distributed. Fantastic, it becomes more decentralized. That's not a problem, that's a great thing. And it's going to become more green, because miners are going to want to avoid regulation and use green energy sources. I'm not hearing a problem here. All this FUD, all this spook of China regulation, all this stuff, it just means that Bitcoin will become more decentralized and greener all the time. That's a good thing. Why are people freaking out? This is a good thing, folks. The market loves to shit its pants over short-term issues that aren't at all issues over the long term. And all this Bitcoin FUD, Elon FUD, it's just going to make Bitcoin greener and decentralized over the long term. So it's nothing to worry about, again, if you have a long-term outlook. Again, are we noticing a theme here that the long term brings greater reward and less risk, and the short term brings greater risk and less reward? Guys, again, I kind of, maybe, hopefully I'm preaching to the choir here, but you guys get the point as well. If we assume the worst case scenario, let's say I'm wrong, market doesn't give two shits about what I think, market does what it wants. Let's say the market crashes tomorrow. When could we suspect the next bull run to occur? Well, historically speaking, Bitcoin has moved in 4-year cycles based off the halvings. And this is a major part of the stock to flow model as well, which is roughly every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin being produced gets cut in half. And so if we have a finite asset that's always in demand, and the demand is constantly growing, that becomes more finite over time. I'm not an economist, but if demand increases and supply decreases, price usually goes up, and that's what we've been seeing. So based off the most recent halving, the cycles like to end September, October 2021, and around that time, that's when I also plan on taking some profits on my positions. But let's say we enter a bear market prematurely. Well, based off the next halving, which is March 20th, around March 2024, I think the next bull market is likely to pick up 2024, 2025. Because again, if we see what happened based off the most recent halvings, price always picked up, except this time because I believe, oh no, because even the, no, every single halving, price action picked back up. So again, guys, if we assume the worst case scenario, if you're holding quality, we just have to hold until 2024, 2025. And so if we do enter a bear market, great. We can just stake, we can hodl, we can yield farm, we can liquidity provide for a couple years until then. Because if we're holding quality projects, they're likely to bounce back next time, make new all-time highs, enter price discovery, and I'll see you all on the moon. So at the end of the day, guys, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We're on the right. We're in the right trade. We're in the right side of history. It's just the timing that's difficult. And the longer your outlook, the longer your investment horizon, the more you mitigate that short-term risk. And so I see someone saying, "Where's the French guy?" Unfortunately, the French guy went off to France. He's out there gem hunting. So guys, you know what? Those are basically most of my thoughts with Bitcoin. So why don't I just start mentioning some of the gems that we found on our gem hunts? Actually, I'll do this. Look, there's 166 people watching this live stream. Once we get to, I'd say, 115 likes, I'll share with you guys something that I'm buying on the dip. And not only do I think this project can increase a lot in value, and I'll show you some of the reasons why, not just because of my feelings, but some evidence we're seeing in the market. But you can also earn crazy high yield and stake this thing. So whether we enter a 3-year bear market or if we're going to hold for the next 3 to 6 months, there's massive yield opportunity you can make on an asset that's likely to maybe increase a shit ton in value itself. So folks, smash that like button. We are 9 likes away. Once we get those 9 likes, I'll immediately share with you guys what I'm talking about. And again, guys, we appreciate everyone you being here. You guys are awesome. We appreciate your support. The more likes we get, the more likely YouTube is to share the live stream, share the channel. And if you guys want more people hearing this kind of content, definitely smash that like button. So why don't we quickly talk about Ethereum? Because Ethereum, in my opinion, is a little bit concerning at the moment. We're continually finding rejection of some of our major EMAs for Ethereum. In my opinion, the 2 most important EMAs to look out for is the 21 EMA on the 6-hour, this white line, great for calling short-term price action, and this 200 EMA on the 10-hour, great for calling more long-term price action. And we can see that with the major dips, major corrections, Ethereum found our support on this blue line, on that 200 EMA on the 10-hour, and we're currently below both. We're currently below volume. We're putting in a lower low. We're putting in a lower high. Ethereum is short-term concerning. But with that being said, we do have a strong layer of support right below us from around $2,130 to about $2,200-$2,300. Looking here at the daily, lots of price reactivity, a strong base form at this region here. Actually, if we go back to the daily, it might be a little bit better to notice. So we have here this area acting as resistance. We broke above, came back down to retest, it then held as support. That's we just formed a base here. Previous resistance retested as support. That immediately forms a base, a price reactive level that's likely to be relevant moving forward. And guess what? That's exactly where we found our support in the short term. And so not only do we have cluster of price action, we have a fib level. We have also the 21 weekly EMA and SMA right under $2,200 acting as support. So we have strong clusters of support right below us from, again, around 2,300 to about 2,200 that should act as, at the very least, temporary support. If we start breaking down from this region, if we put in a lower low, if we start to break down below 2,200, then at that point, Ethereum is pretty worrisome. At that point, we could definitely fall down to 2,000 and maybe even a little bit lower. But again, over the long term, as long as we put in a higher low, as long as we hold like above 1,730, then it would still be a higher low, and we still have the potential of a recovery on the other end. And ultimately, guys, with EIP 1559 coming in the very near future here, making Ethereum deflationary, I'm not the least bit worried about Ethereum. In fact, I'm so bullish on Ethereum over the long term. I actually own 0 Bitcoin, and when I first got into the market, I did buy a little bit, but I put it all into Ethereum because, guys, Ethereum, the thing I love about Ethereum is that it has utility, much more utility than Bitcoin, in my opinion, and it will soon become harder money, more deflationary. And we're seeing hedge funds start to talk about Ethereum. We're seeing even Michael Saylor, Michael Saylor, the guy from MicroStrategy, recently had a interview with Pompliano, with someone, where he actually spoke favorably about Ethereum and the altcoins because they have utility. Guys, even Michael Saylor, the ultimate Bitcoin maximalist, the CEO of Bitcoin, has to give Ethereum its due. And guys, I think Ethereum has a very good chance, if it becomes scalable and if it becomes deflationary, has a super solid chance of eventually flipping Bitcoin in terms of market cap. So Ethereum, in my opinion, is just as safe, and again, my subjective opinion, I think has as much staying power, long-term staying power as Bitcoin because of its network effect and its utility, and has a higher return on investment potential. So why the hell would you own Bitcoin if you can own something just to stay safe with arguably as much staying power, but that has consistently outperformed Bitcoin? Again, guys, look, there's reasons to hold Bitcoin. There's philosophical, political reasons. You like the ideology, you like the philosophy, as diversification, the perceived safetiness of Bitcoin. So look, while I do like to kind of poke fun at the Bitcoin people, again, there are reasonable arguments that I understand. I just like Ethereum so much more that in comparison, if you compare Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin's a rather silly investment, in my opinion, because while Bitcoin is great and all the reasons why Bitcoin is good are all valid and true, that can be the case. And in comparison, Ethereum can be better because, again, greater utility, soon become deflationary, soon become scalable, and is consistently outperformed and has a lower market cap, thus higher return on investment potential. So again, guys, do not sleep on Ethereum. And just to kind of wrap up here on Ethereum, one of the major things we need to look out for to understand, or at least get confirmation of what Ethereum's like to do next, is the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. Because again, guys, if Bitcoin pumps or dumps, why does it affect altcoins? Because it affects the pairings. Because not only are there trading pairs with Cardano and US dollar and USDT, but there's Cardano Bitcoin. There's a lot of pairings, and so Bitcoin moving wildly affects the altcoins because of market sentiment, liquidity, and the pairings. So we're sitting on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing right on our base of support confirmed by VPVR, by volume, and a previously price reactive zone. So if we make a lower low below the zone, if we lose kind of our zone of support here, again, based off volume and price action, then ETH could probably break down a little further. But as of now, we are sitting on support, so no need to jump to any conclusions quite just yet. Wait to see what way we leave support, whether we have a relief rally or if we break down. We're sitting on support right now, so just wait for further confirmation. And also, just to share with you guys what I think Ethereum could do this cycle. How do you know when to sell your Ethereum? Well, one of the things that I'm looking out for is this. If we examine the previous cycle, and again, guys, what happened in the past is no guarantee of what could happen in the future, but it gives you a good idea of, at the very least, what's possible in the future. And if we look here at the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, we can see that last cycle, Ethereum reached 15% of Bitcoin's value. So 1 ETH was worth 15% at the peak. So what typically happens is that Bitcoin peaks first, then starts to correct, and then the altcoins have their market cycle peak roughly a month after Bitcoin. That's what happened previous cycle, and so that's what I think has a good chance of happening in a similar way this cycle, where whenever Bitcoin tops off, whether it's now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, whenever it is, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is likely to top off first, and then roughly about a month, ETH and the altcoins will top off because that's what's happened historically, and so I think is likely, has a good chance of happening in similar fashion this cycle. So again, I think Ethereum is likely to do something similar, reach roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin does this cycle, but it's going to do roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin does after it's begun to correct. So what I think is that if Bitcoin reaches 100,000, ETH has a good chance of reaching 10,000 because again, I'm going for roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin does, ETH can do. But I think I would like to be a little bit more conservative for the sake of risk management and amend that price prediction to give Bitcoin a little bit more room to the downside and give ETH a little bit more wiggle room. So I think if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, then ETH could probably reach 10,000. If ETH goes to 250,000, then ETH could probably reach 20,000. So again, ETH is likely to reach roughly 10%, and it may even outperform. There's even a chance that that ETH could do more than what it did the previous cycle, especially if it becomes deflationary. It has a fighting chance of even being more valuable in comparison to a Bitcoin than the previous cycle. So I'm being ultra conservative here because I want to, I rather underpromise and then overperform than the other way around. So I'm being very conservative here, assuming that ETH will underperform the previous cycle when there's extremely good arguments to think that it could overperform given the fact that it will become deflationary this cycle within the coming few months here. But bottom line is, I think as a general rule of thumb, roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin does, I think it's reasonable to assume that Ethereum has a good fighting chance of doing roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin ends up doing this cycle. And so, okay, guys, look, with that being said, I promised you guys that if we reached 115 likes, I would share with you guys one of the projects that I'm looking to buy on this dip, something that I already bought the dip on. So we got to 115 likes, guys. Appreciate all your support. You guys are the best. So without further ado, let's talk about one of the things that I'm buying on the dip. But if you want to be ultra safe, again, guys, wait for macro confirmation. Wait for Bitcoin to start flipping some of these levels. That would be the safe thing to do. I'm being very risky right now buying the dip on altcoins. If you want to be more confident, if you want to play things more safe, wait to see if we could start flipping these levels. The more of these levels I've previously described that we can flip and hold, the more confident you could be that the bull trend will continue. So if you want to play things safe, I would wait. If you want to degen out like me, well, I'll share some of the things I'm looking to buy the dip on. So without further ado, one of the things I'm very excited to buy the dip on, not only because I think this project itself could recover and have high ROI, but also has very high staking. So let me delve into it. This project I'm talking about is PancakeSwap. So guys, look, I love Ethereum. If you guys follow this channel, you know me. I'm an Ethereum. I'm not an Ethereum maximalist, but I'm an Ethereum fanboy. I really like Ethereum a lot. I think it's very well positioned. With that being said, I cannot ignore the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. Binance has been killing it. I remember when I first started this channel, Binance was like $5. BNB was like $5. It went up all the way up to $600. It was crazy numbers. Forgive me if I'm getting those numbers slightly wrong. Let's see. What did we go up to with BNB? Oh yeah, my bad. Wait, hold on. Let me zoom out here. Because I want to be exact here. I don't want to throw away numbers. We go all the way up to basically $690 with BNB. Guys, this thing was $5 when I first got into the market. Buying BNB back then is not buying it is one of my biggest regrets. I regret not buying this thing so much. I literally had the chance at around $5. But enough of that. There's no use worrying about the past because there's still opportunity. And folks, Binance Smart Chain is providing cheap fees, cheap transactions, and quick transactions. Ethereum, while I love Ethereum, has a lot of problems. As of recently, it's been cheap, but Ethereum's had super high gas fees, super high transaction times, and Binance Smart Chain is a solution to that. They had very cheap fees, very high transaction times, and so PancakeSwap has been gaining more and more market share and more market dominance. Look at the value locked in its ecosystem. Before the crash, there was more total value locked in PancakeSwap than in Uniswap. PancakeSwap is ahead of Sushi, Balancer, Synthetic, QuickSwap, Banker, all super established projects. There is a shit ton of value in the PancakeSwap ecosystem. They're gaining more users, more volume, more value locked in their ecosystem. The direction is clear. People don't like the Ethereum fees, and right now they're very cheap. But if the market gets bullish again, the gas fees will rise again. And so PancakeSwap, if the market gets greedy again, if the market gets bullish again, will become attractive again, in my opinion. And so PancakeSwap is definitely something worthwhile looking into. Now, while I'm not ultra confident about PancakeSwap's future 5 years from now, I do think this cycle, it's still this year, PancakeSwap still probably has a lot of good upside potential, especially if we get that confirmation with Bitcoin. Again, the safe thing to do is to wait on the sidelines and wait for more confirmation. Don't do what I do. Do as I say, not as I do. It's very risky to be buying it now, but I've been buying it now. I've been buying the dip all throughout these ranges here, and I have been staking on PancakeSwap. Guys, not only do I think PancakeSwap could recover itself in price action, but you can stake it and earn over 100% APY in this auto compounding pool, where it takes all of your earnings and automatically redeposits it back into the staking pool, and you could be earning 109%. So imagine if you're gonna hodl for the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you could be earning 109% APY. So again, that was the thing that kind of tipped me over the edge and getting exposure to this project and suggesting it and bringing it up to you guys. Because again, not only do I think this protocol is clearly gaining dominance within its niche, clearly getting more and more users, but you can stake it and earn crazy high APY. And also, PancakeSwap itself is constantly doing market buybacks and burning shit tons of cake all the time. They're constantly burning like tens of millions of dollars worth of this project. Like recently, they burned $93 million worth of PancakeSwap, and they're constantly doing this. So again, guys, don't put all your eggs into one basket. Be diversified. Who knows if this thing will be here 5 years from now? But I think this year, very interesting. Constantly, doing token burns, high APY, constantly getting more market dominance. Very undervalued. And if the market gets bullish again, I still think has plenty of upside potential, because if Bitcoin can again get above that red trend line, retest it, hold it as support, then I think it's just a matter of time before PancakeSwap reaches all-time highs and there's price discovery once again. And imagine if you're holding for the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, earning 109% compounding interest. I mean, come on, guys. So again, the safe thing to do is to wait, because it's possible that we could break down further. And my approach right now is anything I'm buying, I'm willing to hold until the next cycle, 2020, 2024, 2025. Prepare for the worst case scenario. I think the bull run could continue, but the market doesn't care what I think. Prepare for the best case by getting exposure to this market, but also prepare for the worst case. We could enter a bear market. Be prepared to hold until the next cycle, 2020, 2024, 2025. We still haven't gotten macro confirmation. If you want to play things more safe and be more confident in your investment, wait to see a day, a week, a month, however long it takes for Bitcoin to start flipping resistance into support. And at that point, you could start to be more confident of the trend. So guys, that's a lot of the shilling I had planned. I think that's pretty much all I want to mention, at least for the moment. Folks, do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, especially also, guys, let's do a bit of a Q&A here. I'm curious to see what you guys are feeling, what you guys want me to take a look at. So if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, now's the time. We'll do a bit of a brief Q&A while I try and think if there's anything else I want to get off my chest that I haven't mentioned quite just yet. So Nafi is saying, only way I see ETH dropping that low is if ADA takes over. Also, with Cardano, we have smart contracts in Gogan coming, I believe, in August, September. So in terms of a strategy, a long-term strategy with Cardano, folks, what we often see is an anticipatory run-up leading up to a major catalyst, a major news event, and then not always, but often a sell-off afterwards. Because what a lot of people do is they buy the rumor, they sell the news. And one of the biggest news events in Cardano's history is the launch of smart contracts in Gogan. So it's supposed to launch around August, launch around September. Once we get more details and a more accurate timeline, we will be letting you guys know as soon as possible. So again, guys, do not forget to like and subscribe and smash that like button. Again, likely to have an anticipatory run-up. And so if you're looking for a sell strategy, not financial advice, but what I'm doing is considering taking some profits on my Cardano positions around the launch of Gogan and smart contracts, because there's likely to be an anticipatory run-up, and there's a solid chance that we could have a sell-off afterwards. Because I think that's what we're seeing even with Kusama here. Like if we look at Kusama, there's recently been a massive catalyst with the Kusama ecosystem, that being the launch of parachain auctions. Parachain auctions for Kusama are on the same level as like smart contracts with Gogan, or at least arguably. And so what did we see? We saw an anticipatory run-up leading up to the launch of smart contracts, and on the 15th when it started, we had a bit of a sell-off. So again, guys, this happens a lot. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So it doesn't always happen, but it has a solid chance of happening. So if you, again, around the week leading up, I'll probably start taking some profits on my Cardano. And also, Dank McDizzle, thank you for the reminder. Guys, if you guys want to lose money trading these markets, check out our Bybit link. The link for that is down in the description below. Guys, again, for those who don't know us, we're very we're being funny when we talk about Bybit because we see a lot of big crypto YouTubers mention leverage trading without mentioning how incredibly risky it is. A lot of these, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of these big crypto YouTubers, I see them talk about taking trades, having absolutely no idea what constitutes a high probability setup, or at least maybe they do, but they don't do a very good job of demonstrating they know what constitutes a high probability setup. So when I see someone not know what they're talking about when it comes to trading, a very big influential person, and then shill extremely risky leverage trading that most people lose at, it's problematic to say the least. Like, guys, we do have a Bybit link because we're traders and we ourselves use Bybit. So if you know what we're doing, if you know what you're doing, if you're confident in your trading ability, sure, check out Bybit. But guys, we're at the end of the day gonna be honest with you guys. All right, look, it's extremely risky. If you're a new person, you're statistically going to lose money leverage trading. But if you're going to lose money leverage trading, do it with our Bybit link. Link for that is down in the description below. As well, guys, I've been saying for like weeks at this point that we're going to bring some improvements to our VIP Discord group. You get access to our Patreon. Go click on that. Link for that is down in the description below. And we've started to implement some of those changes. Recently, I created a new section in our VIP Discord group for basically posting a bunch of different resources for Bitcoin. So in our VIP Discord group, we talk about the low cap gems we're buying, entries, exits, that kind of thing, a bunch of different resources. But we also have these different resource sections on Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano for understanding the protocol and how they work. And so recently we made one with Bitcoin, posted tons and tons of interesting stuff there. There's even this one website, and I'll show you guys this because this is so interesting. I want to give you guys a sneak peek of some of the stuff we post in our resource section. So I'm pulling this up on my other screen here, and I'll show you guys this in just a second. So this is actually a super interesting website that I stumbled upon recently. One of the stuff we post in our resource section. So this website is called Satoshi.Nakamoto Institute.org. And what this website does, it essentially catalogs and indexes a bunch of the writings of Satoshi Nakamoto, the original founder of Bitcoin. So for those who don't know, Satoshi Nakamoto is an alias for whoever founded Bitcoin. We don't know. We suspect it was a team. Again, for those who don't know, we suspect it's a team of people that founded Bitcoin, or there might have been one kind of leader. But at the end of the day, nobody knows for sure who actually created Bitcoin. The alias is just Satoshi Nakamoto. And so this website, which is super interesting, I'll post it in the comments here in a second, indexes code he originally wrote, forums, emails, quotes from Satoshi Nakamoto, where he talks about addresses, banks, Bitcoin's design. And so these are all original quotes from Satoshi Nakamoto. So super interesting website here. So I'll post this in the comments, and so this is just kind of like a taste of some of what goes into our resources section in our VIP Discord group. Super interesting website to go through. So yeah, guys, look, if you like what we do, you want to support us, want more access to ourselves, become a VIP Discord member. You get access to our Patreon, especially before we implement the final changes, because in the near future, we're going to be bringing a lot of changes to our group, providing even more value, and the people that got in early will greatly benefit from being early. So that's all the shilling I want to get off my back. Thank you, Dank, for the reminder to shill that stuff. Really appreciate that. Also, he's saying you can use a VPN to use Binance too. Yeah, so we use VPNs too. We should actually get a VPN affiliate link. Thank you for the reminder. So yeah, what else are you guys saying here? I want to get a sense of what you guys are asking and wondering about. So Atei says, and what are you saying? And go down when more people buy. That's how Bitcoin increases volume. It has to make money to increase volume. If it lose profit, volume goes down, and I think that happens very rarely. Naf is saying, at McDizzle, yeah, I did for a while and forgot to turn on my VPN one too many times, and they cashed me out and banned my email. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, guys, no, look, a lot of stuff going on. And so that's pretty much all I wanted to get off my chest. So if you guys don't have any final questions, I think I'll start to wrap it up here. Ultimately, guys, at the end of the day, you guys are the best. We will always be honest with you guys. Buffalo on the Beat, I'll definitely check you out on Audius. I use it myself. Man, did you again, it's just me, but I personally love the MF Doom remixes on Audible, on Audius. You got to check out the MF Doom remixes. Those go hard, man. So yeah, I'll check those out. And guys, ultimately, at the end of the day, you guys are the best. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna start to wrap it up here, folks. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. And until next time, take care, folks.